Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.
Hello friends, welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host Paul Jassogne. Thank you for joining us, and we are here downtown as we typically are. A few weeks off for the Lancaster Festival a while back, but now we're back at it, and we're downtown in Fairfield Federal's main lobby here at where the gazebo is, and so much of the activity all around Lancaster has been going on for so long. We're going to get kind of a serious topic a little bit now. We're going to talk about, it's been a while since we've had New Horizons or any representative from them. They're obviously a big agency, and they do lots of great things in Lancaster and Fairfield County. But my guest today is Renee Klautke. Renee, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good. Thank you.
Good. Renee is a PhD, and she is working in areas of signs of suicide and contract development specialist. Those are two areas, and really our focus today is going to be on signs of suicide, and Renee is so involved in that with New Horizons. And I was looking a little statistics about New Horizons. Big organization, yes. Do lots of things. You're one piece of and still growing. I guess that's good that you can still grow and help people, but there's a lot going on out there.
Yes.
People need help. New Horizons came to Fairfield County in 1971. They have over 100 employees now, and they have 4 locations. They serve clients in 7 counties. So the focus for us today is to discuss signs of suicide, and I guess it's your job to help point those things out when people see things. Is that important? Is it not important? Should they say something? Should they not say something? These are areas you deal with.
Yes. So the Signs of Suicide program is a program that we work with all the schools in Fairfield County, and we're growing. So we actually go into the middle schools and the high schools and work on the Signs of Suicide program. It is a Say Something, See Something program. It's based on ACT, A-C-T, Acknowledge, Care, Tell. Okay. So you should acknowledge if someone is having an issue, seems like they're depressed, looks like they may be suicidal, care enough to talk about it, and then tell a trusted adult. So we work on the ACT program.
It seems like that so often we hear about these kind of programs when something occurs, like maybe somebody should have seen something, did see something, and you hear it in all kinds of things, like when there's a shooting somewhere, the neighbor will come over, well, I never knew that. He seemed like such a great guy. Didn't know he had 30 bodies in the basement. You know, it's things like that. But now there are a lot of signs out there, especially among young people, that if you're a parent, a grandparent, even friends of young people, there are signs you could watch for.
Right. So the program, we actually go through some of the signs. You know, if you're depressed, if you're feeling like there's no way out, if you're having issues with bullying, if you have problems in school, and sometimes it's not just the people that you would think that's the one that's going to, possibly have depression and possibly do something. It could be your class president. It could be anybody. And just basically what we go in and we talk about what the signs are, and then what to do if you have a friend that's feeling that way. And it's always tell a trusted adult. Tell somebody that you trust.
I've seen commercials on TV, not about this, they're probably more opioid based, but they live in a town called Denial, yes. Ohio, which are great commercials. And the woman's in the medicine cabinet, oh no, my drugs yes. are here. My son would never do that. And welcome to Denial, Ohio. And possibly you see this a lot, and I think you've touched on that. There is no socioeconomic basis. It can be wealthy children, it can be poor children. Everybody needs to have some attention paid to them.
Right. It actually can be anybody. Just as a personal note, when my daughter was in 8th grade, she had a person that she knew committed suicide from the school. She was in 8th grade. So it impacts, and I remember the day that we found out. She wasn't good friends with the girl, but it really impacted her, me, like the family, everything. So it can be anywhere.
When something like that occurs, you hear schools and principals and superintendents jump in and say, well, we've got people on site to help them. Does your group then do things to help these young people after a fact like that?
So we actually have not only the Signs of Suicide program where we go in and we do kind of like a week-long presentation, and then we talk to kids who take a survey, and we rank to see that they possibly could use some more assistance, maybe they need some resources. Sometimes their parents are called so that we can talk about, what their issues are.
Do you have a mobile group that goes out and
yes,
would go
definitely.
to a school?
Okay, so not only do we have the SOS, we actually have embedded counselors in the schools. Most of the Fairfield County schools, we have therapists that we work, we're in kind of the same department, so we'll do this SOS program, and then they'll come in and they'll kind of work on the end of it, and so they're actually in the school after we leave. We also have a mobile crisis unit that gets very active in the after school starts, where they can go into the school if the school's having an issue with a kid that they feel is needing some additional support. They can do telephonic kind of like risk assessment, and then go in and work with our school counselors if our school counselors are actually on site.
And I would imagine the schools are so glad to have you on board. Like you say, you're in every, I guess, middle school and high school in Lancaster and Fairfield County. I guess the schools would just say, wow, we're glad to have you here. You probably add so much to what they do.
So I've contacted all the schools to get started and get everyone scheduled, and they got back right away. Usually we work within the health classes, and we touch the health classes where they're learning some of these types of signs of suicide, and then some. We have a school that we're doing a whole school presentation to everybody, and then we're going to do individual classrooms. We have a survey that they take. We have basically the way that the program works is we have a presentation that includes videos. And then after that, we have discussion on, the signs of suicide and if anybody has anything that they want to share. And then everyone takes a survey. Well, everyone who has gotten permission from their parents to take a survey. And then from those surveys, we score them. And those that score in a risk category, we pull and we talk to them individually. Usually the percentage of the kids that are pulled are 30%. Which is really high, but it could include the kid that wants to talk about a friend or maybe just needs some resources in the community, and it may be that they need to go to the hospital depending on exactly where they stand. But we feel that the program is it's evidence-based, it's known to work. It's evidence-based and it definitely works.
Talking with Renee Cloutke with New Horizons, talking about signs of suicide. And I think back to when I was in school, and I'll guarantee I never knew anyone that committed suicide when I was in school. I'm sure there are people that did it other places, just not anywhere I was aware. And if you'd have come into our school as, say, a junior high especially, or a high school kid, we probably would have just giggled about all this. We wouldn't have understood it. We wouldn't have known it. Do you see young people changing now? Because so much of this is on TV. You see it all the time. There's things that go on in schools all the time. I would think kids treat this much more seriously now than perhaps at a different time.
Well, in the past, I think the biggest thing that was don't talk about it, because then if you talk about it, then people will do it. Yeah. Now it's you have to talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what the signs are, and then let's see if we can get you help for that. Definitely, social media has become huge.
Sure.
And a big impact for this. Sometimes. Back when we were younger, like you said, there was no social media. You didn't really hear about these kind of things. We don't talk about these kind of things. Even depression, anxiety, it wasn't really talked about back then. Yeah. Now it's,
they were there, you just didn't care as much.
Or people didn't want, not me, I'm not like that. Or the parents like, my kid's not like that. Yeah. Now we hope that with more education, that parents are open to see, okay, so maybe my kid is depressed. Maybe they do need some additional help. There's no stigma with that. Yeah. And that's kind of what we try to help with.
That's a big part of it, that stigma.
Yes.
You got to get past that, pull the curtain back and say, let's get down to it here.
Yes.
Yeah. And something I think about young people now that I think they have to deal with so much more than even our kids did, or even I certainly did. Certainly the cyber community, you talked about it, social media is a big part of what you're doing, texting, things going on like that. So much pressure on young people to conform, to fit in, to be popular. There was bullying when I was a kid. I certainly saw some of it, but now this cyberbullying is is beyond any scope of anything I could ever imagine, and that's something you probably have to deal with on a daily basis.
So when we were younger, you may have had issues at school. You went home, but you didn't have any of the social media, so you got to kind of decompress from it.
Right.
Now, yeah, the online bullying, I think that a lot of people can, like kids, can sit behind their computer screen or behind their phone and do things a lot differently than if you were to do it in person.
Anonymously gives
Yes.
people a lot of courage.
It does, definitely.
Yeah. So these are things that you now do your people teach the classes, or do you have school people and you just give programs within classes that they teach, or both?
So I have a partner who he and I both go into the class. We do the presentation in one class period. We do the survey, and then we score the surveys, and then we pull the kit. So it's myself or my counterpart. And last year we touched 3,600 kids in Fairfield County. And this year I think we're on target to touch more than that this year.
Wow. So on balance, you'd say things here in Fairfield County probably are average what they are anywhere else?
Yes. So we actually have some school-based counselors that are outside of the county now, and it's the same thing. The schools are very interested in signs of suicide, how to decrease, the chances of suicide, to identify kids who are depressed more. We do a lot of education with staff on, a kid may seem like they're belligerent or rude, when in essence, as a teenager,
Something else.
depression can come across as just being really, angsty or rude or whatever.
So if you're a parent, a grandparent, somebody that knows something like, or not knows, because many people don't know, but if you see some things with your young people, your friends, your grandchildren, your children, what would be the first step to contact you or the teacher, or if they're going to school, let somebody know? I guess that's see something, say something.
See something, say something. Knowledge, care, tell. We work usually when we're working as the school-based counselors. We usually work with a counselor in the school,
Okay.
As a pinpoint person. So yeah, they can contact
That'd
the
be the
school,
first step.
the counselor, right?
Yeah.
The counselor. They can call us directly.
Sure.
With New Horizons, we have multiple locations where they can come in. We have a bunch of different programs. We have the outpatient. We can do in-home. We have case management, we do crisis, we do SOS, we do school-based. So we have a bunch of wraparound services that we can then help with trying to make sure that someone doesn't get to the point where they feel hopeless and helpless, and that
Got to
they're
get on board on this early.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a good website. It is newhorizonsmentalhealth.org. Lots of information on there on your program, plus all the other things that New Horizons does. And again, they help so many people here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. And again, the fact that you're in every school, junior high and high school in Lancaster and Fairfield County, obviously the schools know the value of what you do here.
And every year they welcome us back, and they really want to schedule right away and make sure they get, and sometimes we schedule once, sometimes we go in multiple times to different classrooms. It just depends on what the school needs, and we kind of are bendable to whatever. I would like to mention that we are funded by the United Way and the Adam H. Board, the Ryan Breed Foundation, and the schools themselves. So all of those four types of entities are the ones that actually help us get funding to be in the schools.
Yeah, another good agency that United Way is behind. They fund a lot of these things that are very helpful. Renee, thank you for joining us. It's a great program you have. Thanks for what you and your staff and everybody at New Horizons do. So needed in Lancaster and Fairfield County.
Thank you very much for having me.
We'll be back and talk about something a bit different in just a moment on Fairfield Today.
The Frank E. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster or 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome to the Dream Machine. Like to be part of Dream Machine, keep me busy, and it's also important that we do it together as a group, and we plow and plant, and We have lots of produce. We have tomatoes like one here, and gourds, cucumbers, squash, kohlrabi, beets, microgreens. We also have flower arrangement, and we also sell bags, those tote bags out of animal food bags, and we sell them out in the market, farmers market.
It's a special place that keeps people healthy by eating a couple fruits and vegetables. I always show people, first time they pick raspberries and green beans, I show them how to do it like if they do it wrong. Picking raspberries and green beans is simple, it's easy for me. We're entering some things in the fair like pumpkins, the gourds were growing, and everyone likes them. Tasty.
Fairfield Medical Center took care of me like I was family.
I was made to feel like I was the only person that they were going to see that day, even though I knew that wasn't the case.
Everyone at Fairfield Medical Center was very attentive. They just put my mind at ease.
I was there for 12 days, and I felt comfortable there.
We were people to them, not a number. They took the time to get to know us, our personalities.
Well, they saved my life. You know, how do you beat that?
I don't know how I could have gotten through it without them.
Experience Fairfield Medical Center.
Thank you for joining us. Beautiful day here in Lancaster and Fairfield County as we tape today. We're in the lobby downtown as always. Fairfield Federal, appreciate them allowing us to come in and kind of block up one of the corners of their front lobby each and every week. We have such a fun time talking to great events, great people, things going on that we hope are of interest to you, all the folks around here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. And much like every weekend as we head throughout the year, but certainly into the fall time of the year here into September and moving into the later fair time and things that go on here in Fairfield County, there's no lack of events that occur each and every weekend, some during the week, but every weekend there are multiple events going on. And one of them we always like to talk about puppy dogs. We always enjoy talking about that. And if we're talking about puppy dogs, you can guarantee that Amy Carpenter will be with us with Hank. Amy,
yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Paul, for having us.
Hank, as you can see, Hank right behind us right here. He's with us all the time. And we just talked, was it July?
Yes.
Back in July, you have that was your fourth event down at the fairgrounds. Big successful event down there. Yes. I saw the signs all over the fences down there. You took it over then. It was a nice event down there. Well attended. I hear you had a great time down there.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of awareness and money raised for canine cancer and sarcoma.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about Hank's annual yard sale coming up this weekend, Friday and Saturday. At Amy's house. We'll give you the address and where all that is, where we can talk about that. But let's, for maybe some people that either didn't know or forgot the story, how did this all begin, this journey with you and Hank?
Yeah. So my sister brought home Hank as a puppy, and he was so small at that time, he fit in the palm of her hands. He was a Bull Mastiff Rottweiler. And of course, we all fell in love with him. And so it was her dog, but he lived on my mom and dad's farm in Amanda. And then I was his aunt, and I'm the one that loved him the most. And so whenever there was holidays, I would be the one buying him gifts and bringing him over and stopping and walking with him each week. And he was just my favorite thing in the world. And in 2013, he all of a sudden was having trouble. He wouldn't eat his treats, and I didn't think too much about it, but it was concerning. And so when my mom called and said that she had made a vet appointment, I started to get nervous, because some people don't think they need to go all the time like us people, as I'm one of the ones that they need to be there every year. And she was concerned, and I was like, oh. And so we took him in. And he had some trouble pottying, but I didn't live with him, so I only saw that one time. And we thought the vet would come out and tell us, it's bladder infection, UTI, something like that. And she came out and said that Hank had a tumor the size of a grapefruit and that he had sarcoma.
Hard to hear.
Yes, devastating. I just lost it. I was in tears. And then someone who was with me there at the time said, you can't show Hank your emotion. Dogs are so wonderful. They, pick up on all our emotions and they sense things. And so, as sad as I was going through all that, I had to try to hide that for him because I could tell that my emotions were getting him upset. Yeah.
So this has started you on your journey of awareness.
Yes.
For dogs, cats, anybody, because these are serious things that happen to pets all the time.
Right.
And
exactly.
you find this out more and more that this is something that needs to be brought to the public's attention.
Right. And so when Hank was diagnosed, I didn't know what sarcoma was, but sarcoma is a rare cancer of the connective tissue. So it can be anywhere in your body. It can be in the soft tissue or it can be in the bone, which is the osteosarcoma. And so I had no clue. I'd never heard of it. And then I found out that 1 in 3 dogs get cancer and 50% will pass. And I was like, someone's got to do something. Like, is anyone doing anything out there? Like, I was getting upset, and I was like, someone needs to educate the public. I found out now, since I've been on this journey of being an advocate, there are some other groups out there doing stuff. But at the time, I wasn't hearing anything, didn't know of anything. And then something else I found out through all my advocating and research is that children are the second most commonly affected by sarcoma. So dogs are the
pool
first.
here, pets, people, babies.
Yeah. So dogs are first and then children. And so a lot of times when I travel and I talk to people, I get this like dismissive look like, you're worried about dog cancer, what's the big deal? And so I get upset and I'm like, well, do you care about children? And they're like, of course, everyone cares about kids. And I'm like, well, you need to care about dogs because, when they find treatments that help dogs, it also helps children.
Sure.
You know?
So again, I know, like I say, every year in July you have the big event at the fairgrounds. Lots of things going on, awareness, prizes, a fun time, just lots of things going on in July.
Right.
But now we go to here we are in September. This weekend we have a big yard sale. And what's the address for the yard sale?
So our address is 1108 Coventry Circle, and that's here in Lancaster, and it's in Hunter Trace.
Right, Hunter Trace out there. And what will the money? I think we know, but tell us what the money that raised goes for.
Yeah, so the money goes for our mission, which is to raise money for research and awareness.
Now, do you still need items?
Yeah.
Can people still get involved? How would they, if even at this late date, how could they help?
Right, so you could just text me at 740-974-2811, and then we can arrange a drop-off or pick-up time.
Okay.
And then my wonderful cousin June comes over the night before, and we finish pricing everything and
Sure.
get it all organized and everything. And right now, our garage is bulging at the seams.
Well, good. That's a good
that's
thing.
a good thing,
that's
right?
a good problem
So,
to have.
yes.
And Shane will be showing some of these calendars you have here. You have a 2021 with
Yeah.
Fairfield Medical Center on the front. Heidi Reed is Asher, and we're showing you a picture of that.
Yeah.
But we have the other ones here, and they'll show those as we scroll through them. The community has really grasped onto this to get the story of Hank, and you've gotten the police, the fire, the hospital, some big entities in the community kind of on
Right.
board and to help raise the awareness.
Right. That's what I found when I first started doing this. I was so focused on canine cancer, and that is my love, and that's what I'm most, my heartstrings tug at. But then I started trying to broaden myself, and I thought, this isn't just about Hank, it's about all dogs, and it's not just about canine cancer, it's about sarcoma, not only in dogs, but in people. And, and when they find out that some treatments help, I think it's in breast cancer, erubulin, that helps them and also helps sarcoma patients. So we can't just look at it as dogs or people or breast cancer or sarcoma. We need to look at it as, all the treatments that, researchers are finding helps everyone in some way, and if we can refurbish drugs, and use them between dogs and people or breast cancer to sarcoma, that's what we need to do, use what's
it's
already
much
working.
bigger than what you originally started out to be. Just for
Exactly.
Hank, you finding out that as you've done your research and on this journey, humans are affected, especially children.
Right.
And I'm sure you've heard lots of stories of people being affected by this.
Definitely. And it's just so sad. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And a couple years ago, I go to D.C. every year for Rare Disease Week to bring awareness on Capitol Hill. And one of my friends had sarcoma. And the other weird thing about sarcoma in adults is that a lot of times they're misdiagnosed, because if you are an adult that gets sarcoma, a lot of times the doctors, you don't fit the mold because it's mostly in children. So doctors a lot of times, don't realize that you have that because you don't fit that exact criteria. And so I was there advocating not only for Hank, but for him and some other friends that I had met along my journey that had sarcoma. And the night I flew home and I got a Facebook message from his brother that he had passed away. And it was just so heartbreaking. It just brings everything real to life, that they need to get more treatments and there needs to be more research done to
Well, it just
help
kind of
everyone.
solidifies, you're doing the right thing here. You're on the journey that's hopefully, we cure this, but along the way you just need to just lift up everybody and just raise the awareness.
Raise the awareness, get your dog checked, once a year, if they're an older dog, maybe more than that. If something doesn't seem right, go to your vet, get it checked out.
Are
your
certain
dog.
breeds more susceptible to this? Bigger dogs, little dogs, certain breeds?
Right, so poor Hank had everything going against him. He was a male, they seem to be affected more. He was a big dog. And so obviously big dogs don't live as long, but they're usually the ones who are most affected by the cancer. But, it can be any breed, it can be small dogs, but those are the ones more affected. Hank was a Bull Mastiff Rottweiler, and Rottweilers are more prone to getting cancer. But the number one breed is the Bernese Mountain Dog. 55% of Bernese Mountain Dogs get cancer.
Really?
And the Golden Retriever, 50%. Of golden
And a
retrievers
lot of
get
golden
cancer.
retrievers out there.
Right.
Labs and golden retrievers, you see those
Yeah.
everywhere.
Right.
So
it's just so sad. And then in people, again, just, if something doesn't seem right, get it checked out. I think a lot of times as people, we get busy in life and we think, oh, that's just an ache or pain, it'll go away. And then a couple months later, you're still dealing with it.
Sure.
But if something doesn't seem right, whether it be in your animal or in yourself, go get it checked out. And if you're not happy with, the first opinion you get from a doctor, go to a specialist. Get a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with that.
Amy Carpenter, and she's the mom, the aunt for Hank, who we have right here behind us. And so what's your website? Give us your address.
And so it's the Hank Cable Sarcoma Foundation.com.
The Hank Cable Sarcoma Foundation.com. You can go with, if you go to a search engine, you can put Hank Cable in, because I've done
Yes.
that. Hank Cable in, and it comes up. But the yard sale is this weekend.
Right,
Friday and Saturday. And the hours?
It's from 9 to 3, and again, it's 1108 Coventry Circle, Lancaster.
And just from where we sit right here, just go down Main Street to Lincoln Avenue, and you'll run right into 100 Trace on the right. And incidentally, I'll give a little plug here. Right in the front there, the Kiwanis now is putting that park in, that All Abilities Park in, right? That's going to be on your
I've been
on
seeing
your
that when I
backyard,
walk.
your front yard, right there. It's out there.
Yes.
So that's going.
That is in the
so
works.
You'll see where all the dirt's being torn. It's just past that at that first traffic
Yeah.
light in. The instructions, you can find Coventry Circle easily in there. If you have an item that you'd like to donate to this, or you'd like to make a donation, how can they do that again?
Yeah. So again, they can go to the Hank Cable Sarcoma Foundation.com, or you can mail us a check at the 1108 Coventry Circle, and that's Lancaster.
And we've shown some of this. I'll hold it up again here so we can get a shot of that. This is the 2020 calendar. You got your volunteer on the front with your puppy, and everybody is moving along. So I'd encourage you, if you're interested in helping out pets, and again, as Amy has pointed out, certainly young people, infants, humans, adults, everybody can be affected by this. So it's something that the awareness that Amy's been on this journey to raise the awareness. This is the final event of the year, and so then we'll go to next July, number 5 out at the Fairfield County Fairgrounds.
Exactly.
Pretty exciting.
Yes.
Amy Carpenter with Hank behind us here, the Hank Cable Foundation. Help out there. It's a good cause, and it's out again on Coventry Circle. Go to the website, Google that, and find it. You can check it out. Amy, thank you for joining
Paul,
us.
for having us.
Thank you for joining us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan. Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, and the Frankie Smith Funeral Home.